I sucked some dude's dick to.
That I believe.
That's how you get.
Yes,
That's how you
that is the most believable part of that whole story.
Hey, I'll take a shot in the mouth if it gets me a couple 100 miles down the road.
All right. Well, and with that, I feel like.
I think I'm recording this.
Yeah, with that.
You are recording it? Sweet.
Man.
There's your opening.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the lead in with the music. That's the lead in with the music. And with that, I'd blow it for, you know.
We're in first place in the frickin' Idiot League.
Two idiots talk sports. Sports talk. Funny and uncensored.
Good afternoon to all of you out there, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. We are Two Idiots Talk Sports, also known as TITS, and our lovely server, Stephanie Kardashian just gave us some chips. We're here at the On the Border Studios here in Oklahoma City, coming to you strong here, August the 5th, 2018. I'll be honest, going into this week, I thought this is going to be a rough week to talk sports. We may have to get into our personal lives and have some therapy. But instead, we've been graced with quite a few stories. It is Hall of Fame weekend. We've got a whole lot of stuff going on. NFL training camp. So, needless to say, we do actually have things to talk about. That's what's great about the world of sports. I am Chance Del Fuego. With me is Drunk Tim. And of course, our special guest this week again is Mr. Blair Smith. And he will have for us again a BS report. So with that, gentlemen, how was your week?
It's good. Didn't do a damn thing, so it was a good week.
That is a good week. It's so underrated just to be able to do nothing. That is underrated.
It is. I had a guy owe me money, so he mowed my lawn twice, so I didn't do a damn thing.
Oh,
Great.
that.
Yes.
That is awesome.
When I say not a damn thing, I mean not a damn thing.
I've seen your yard. That is an amazing thing. That I'm not talking about it's overgrown. It is a large yard. I mean, let's just say the grass is big and fertile. No, let's just say it's just a wide acreage. I'm still talking about the lawn, right?
Where the deer flee the homeland. And
Yes. This dude right here, you don't know this. This guy right here has a donkey. He does have an ass on his yard.
Please tell me, like Paul, you beat your ass.
On occasion.
Sweet.
I'm
True
usually
story.
wearing a pirate hat and an eye patch when I do it, but
An eye
and
patch.
that's a video camera in proximity.
That's fantastic.
It's
So
good
he
to
beats
role
his
play.
ass, and I beat something else.
It is good to role play when you're beating your ass or beating your donkey, because that way they don't know it's coming.
I think you've ridden my donkey in the past.
You gotta sneak up behind him.
Like, oh, is that a pirate coming at me? Pat, just. Oh man. Oh great. We're talking about animal abuse during this week. Great.
Sorry, PETA.
Wow.
No
Man,
asses were harmed in
I'm
the
already-
making of this show.
I'm already off to a controversial start talking about beating asses. So it's official. Blair Smith has a donkey on his yard. Drunk Tim, how was your week?
Well, of course, I work 8 days in a row, and then I'm off the 6 days in a row, which will start tomorrow. But anyways, so I think we had a pretty good week at work. We only had maybe 100 shoplifters.
Oh, nice. Going down a little bit.
I think that maybe they've taken up a different type of drug. It's possible. There's some of these people out there that are hardcore carnivores, and they they try to make their drug dollars stretch.
Do you think it's them, or are they actions that you yourself are taking to help, slow down the epidemic?
I think that my humorous dialogue can, potentially stop some of the ones that maybe would have walked out the door with stuff. But
Would you say that your humor penetrates their meth?
I don't know, man. That's a lot of power.
That is a lot of power.
And with great power.
Yes, comes great responsibility, Spider-Man. But yeah, like, does your humor, like, does it not, maybe not necessarily penetrate the meth? Because I don't know that you can penetrate meth. Not even Superman. That's maybe a debate for another day. But does it confuse? Like, sometimes you can just get away with, maybe that's a strong defense. You can just confuse, and now they don't know why they're there anymore. Just like, hey, nice shorts without a belt. And why? Hey, man, yeah, hey, why am I here? I don't know. And then they don't steal anything.
Well, there was this one guy, actually this morning, technically. I really wanted to compliment him on the length of his underwear, because I thought it was really impressive. I didn't know if it was appropriate to compliment a man on his underwear.
So you
I refrained.
Had self-control. You didn't ask him about his underwear, or you
did
didn't
not
compliment his underwear.
No. I really wanted to so bad.
In public,
and
that's
I wanted
probably
to
a good
ask him
idea.
where he got it, so that way I could go buy the same pair of underwear. They looked really comfortable.
Girls talk about that stuff all the time, but there is a different code. I mean, we can pretend that we're all equal and blah blah blah, but there's guy code. You can't ask a dude about a dude's underwear. I don't think.
They
just like
have conventions.
Just like you go into a restroom and there's 3 urinals. Which urinal do you not go to?
The one in the middle.
Exactly. That's that's an unspoken. I mean, I just spoke it, but like everybody in this room knows it. The people listening know that you don't go to the middle one because
if there's
now,
nobody there.
Yeah, because now you've left now you're definitely going to get a dude come up and pee next to you. And you try to eliminate that if you can.
So what kind of pee stance do you like to take when both sides of you are... I mean, because you don't want to show this guy your dick, and then you're like, wait a minute, this guy might like it more than that guy. So like you start leaning towards the other guy.
Dude, I go John Wayne. I do full wide leg stance, like I'm about to be I'm on a horse. Okay. And some of that is because my pants like to kind of fall down. Anyway, so my legs are able to hoist and keep. I was able to introduce the word hoist there, but I'm able to keep the pants up.
Wait a minute, you were hoisting your pants.
I was hoisting.
Was the urinal moist?
Oh, definitely. And the wall around it, and the floor, and the partition, and for some reason the ceiling, man, I don't know what, dude, somebody's got some skill. I don't know. I just shoot for it. Or lack thereof. Like, I don't know if they just pulled their pants off and it was just pure explosion. Like the water hose, like when no one's holding the water hose and it's just going full blast, going all over the place.
Like, dude, open up your dick before you pee.
Yeah. I wonder if you could get like grip. You know how they put grip on the tennis racket and they wrap that around? I wonder if you could get grip, except... I mean, there's some physical issues there, but like if you could get grip for that so you could go pee and hang on, and it doesn't go flopping all over the place, you're able to just straight shoot it. I don't know. That seems ridiculous now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, you are a straight shooter, but I don't know, maybe you have that issue and you're not a straight shooter in all the facets.
You're not supposed to let the whole world know that, okay, so now they know that you've seen me pee.
They're going to be thinking about it when they go pee.
That's a good point.
And even if there's any chicks out there.
Yeah.
So Chance Del Fuego is going to have people thinking about him while they pee.
Well,
that's your legacy.
Yes, that's my legacy. Oh my goodness. So something was introduced to me by Mr. Blair Smith, and I had to research it. I had to look it up. It's this... have you heard of, I know you work a lot, this Kiki challenge?
No, I have not.
I was asked if I've done the Kiki challenge. I'm like, well, I don't even know what the hell it is. I had to look up the Kiki challenge.
Is it a Hawaiian thing?
It's not. I looked it up.
Right?
It is it's a Drake song called "In My Feelings," and in it the word Kiki is used. And do you love me? Do you love me? Anyway, so it started as this guy, Skippy or Skitty. Shiggy, there we go. Thank you.
I've heard of that one.
Sorry, Shiggy got this viral video going just doing this particular dance to it. That's all he did was the dance. But what it evolved to was people would be in a moving vehicle, hop out of the vehicle while it's still moving and do the dance alongside the moving car.
Wow.
I'll just answer right now, I've not done either of these options.
Yet.
And I've thought about doing it, though, as ridiculous as that sounds.
YOLO.
Right? Now, people have gotten hurt. The latest, the story that came out that I saw the most recent was this teenage girl in Iowa. She went to hop out to go dance and busted her head right on the concrete, and she's now remembering how to walk. I get doing therapy. That's. Oh, I feel awful now. Like, I didn't mean it in a funny way. It just came out like that. She's going through the motions of walking again because she had the brain hemorrhaging and the...
Maybe you need to work at Walgreens and use that humorous dialect.
You remember how to walk? No. Well, could you start? I mean, God, it's just like...
Dude, that's gotta suck!
Yeah. So she goes through this, and there's been other incidents as well.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, so we just saw that live. Here's this guy. Oh, yeah, this is the guy that gets hit by the car. Now, I saw his response. This car was supposed to come.
Ooh, right in the face.
This car was supposed to do this. This was rigged. But what happened was the guy driving the car was driving faster than he told him to. He's supposed to go slow. He was planning on dancing and then hopping on the hood of the car and finishing the dance moves. But he slips. As you just saw, he slips and falls as the car is coming at him that fast and hits him in the face.
Definitely a dude that's gotta suck moment.
I love
Good
it.
stuff.
He was on Jimmy Kimmel, so
whenever
I saw that.
when after that happened, did the Price is Right tuba thing noise happen?
Yeah. Yes, it just did. So anyway, Kiki challenge. I know I'm behind. I think this has been going on. From what I read, it's been around for like at least a month now. But I'm always late to the party. I told Blair that I'm always late to the party on this stuff. I am never like on like here. This just in. I mean, like I'm always like this just about out. That's mine. Breaking, not news. So anyway, I'm always late to the party with that stuff. But if the opportunity arises, maybe we'll do the Kiki challenge.
You're just fashionably late.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You know what guy?
If people are willing to do that, I mean, here you are, you're going to DUI school, and here's people hopping out of perfectly good cars. Are they going to start a class for that? It's ridiculous.
Hopping out of car DUI?
No, I don't know.
Interject hilarious acronym.
All right, so biggest story of the week this week is if you haven't heard about it by now, you're under a rock. I don't know where you're at. You got your head up your ass, maybe.
Or Blair's
or
ass.
Blair's ass. He's a good-sized donkey. If I say so myself. I mean, I've seen a lot of asses in my day, and let me tell you,
Hey, and
yours was one of the larger ones.
once
thank
once you've seen one ass, you want to see all of them.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can't say you've seen them all, but you want to see them all.
Kim
I don't know.
Kardashian has a nice one.
Yeah. So big news this week. You already know about this. It's the Urban Meyer Ohio State stuff. It's now under investigation. Urban Meyer's been placed on administrative leave, which means he's still getting paid. And believe me, there's millions on the table here, whether he keeps a job or not. So, but if you happen to have just no clue of what is going on, Urban Meyer basically hired a guy named Zach Smith. He's the grandson of, and I should have wrote this guy's name down, damn it. But he is a longtime member of Ohio State, a very respected member. Urban Meyer basically views this guy like his second father figure type of guy. Well, Zach Smith is this guy's grandson. No. So Zach Smith's this guy's grandson. So he walked on. This is going way back, but Urban Meyer was coaching Bowling Green way back in the day. Zach Smith walked on and was a player for him at Bowling Green. When Urban Meyer moved on to Utah, kind of moving up the ladder of coaching at Utah, he basically brought Zach Smith on as one of the smaller coaches or whatever, and let him work for him there.
That's kind of a cool story.
Then they go to Florida. He's the receivers and tight ends coach for him there. He goes on to Ohio State. Zach Smith moves on, of course, with him. He's the receivers coach at Ohio State. So all that being said, back as far back that they know of, since 2009, there's been repeated domestic violence incidents, or alleged, however you look at it. But there's been there's been multiple responses to domestic violence to Zach Smith's house since 2009 when they were at Florida. His ex-wife name is Courtney Smith. They're now, they're now divorced. Of course, they were married at that time, and there was just multiple incidents. And she's, of course, all the coaches and their wives. They're kind of a tight-knit unit. They know each other. At some point, Courtney Smith, yeah, that's right, Earl Bruce was the old guy's name. My bad, Earl Bruce. But she begins finally texting pictures and these texts to the other coaches' wives, including Urban Meyer's wife, who is a nurse. She works for Ohio State University on the medical side.
Oh, wow. That's good money right there, I'm sure.
Yeah, so she is a part of the university as well. She's not just a coach's wife. So there's a lot. Back in media days last week, Urban Meyer was asked about there's a 2015 incident. There's actually a couple of incidents between the two, Zach Smith, Courtney Smith. And Urban Meyer just kind of comes out and says, basically denies the whole thing. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not quoting him here. But he's just saying, nothing. I don't know anything about it. So then after that, they fire Zach Smith because they find out that there's this detailed report done on them by a guy who used to work for ESPN but now is with another kind of like a news side deal or whatever. But he's done this full blown. He has proof of everything. It's not hearsay. This guy's a legit journalist, reporter. Like, he has facts. He has all this stuff. Once they hear that the report comes out, Zach Smith gets fired. So the timing is a little bit like, okay, what's going on here? So once the report comes out, they put Urban Meyer on administrative leave. And so now there's going to be this full-scale investigation on Urban Meyer and all this stuff. How far back did he know? It looks like there's some evidence showing he did know back as far back as 2009.
Damn.
The ESPN did an interview with Zach Smith, who, he's trying to save Urban Meyer's job. He's like, hey, this is the guy that fired me.
Mentor.
This is the guy that fired me, but I love and respect this guy. He shouldn't be in trouble. This is my stuff. Now, Zach Smith says, of course, he never hit Courtney Smith. He denies allegations, but there's even texts between him and Courtney where she mentions where he picks her up by the throat while they're on vacation down in the Dominican Republic, and he agrees to it through text, So there's just things like that where it's kind of like where there's smoke, there's definitely some fire here.
If it looks like it does.
We haven't seen any of the pictures, so some of it's tough to really delve into it for me because I feel like there's speculation, and I'm under the belief that I know within kind of some of the liberal media, there's this quick, fire him, light him on fire, nail him to a cross. He definitely did it. Let's move on with our lives. Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's get him. And she's a saint. And I know from life's experiences that no. We should be able to ask questions. And so I'm glad that there's
Before he gets fired?
I'm glad that there's an investigation going. And you know what? If this guy really did do those things, and I'm tending to believe that he did do some things. Like I said, when there's smoke, there's fire. When there's so many domestic violence calls and police having to come out and stuff, something's going on. And I don't know if they're both crazy, if they're both abusing each other, and he's
'Cause
just
that
going to
does
take the
happen a
fall.
lot.
By the way, folks, that happens.
A lot. The chick is always out to look like the victim.
Absolutely.
And
so
there's a lot of crazy bitches out there be hitting on their man.
Man, no doubt about that. So, but it turns out, not in the 2009 stuff, but in the 2015 stuff, that even the athletic director, Gene Smith, knew about some of these allegations from 2015. So it goes even deeper than just Urban Meyer. This is why they've got a big investigation going. It's like, this is not just about Urban Meyer may go down. This could be
The whole staff?
Well, of course, the whole staff, because they're allegedly they all know about it. But I'm talking about even higher ups. We're talking about the athletic director, or board of who all knows about this type of stuff. And so, big news, big thing. It's Ohio State. When we do our college football preview, maybe we'll have more information and we can say, well, this is what we really think Ohio State's going to do this year, because now they're definitely not going to be as good if they start losing all these staff members. But
And who's going to take their place?
So I think
Bob Stoops.
Right. There's already been just the reports they may want
Hawaii.
Bob Stoops, but if you're Bob Stoops, do you want any piece of any of that? I mean, I know he's
No
got
one
some.
wants any piece
He's
of that.
from Ohio.
He's from Ohio, but does that
It
mean
doesn't matter,
when a ship is sinking? Does that mean that's
Let me
from
go jump on that.
That's from my local lake. I want to hop on that ship.
My local lake.
I'm not hopping on that. I'll just sit right here and be Bob Stoops in Norman, Oklahoma,
And
where
go
they
fishing.
love me. And it's not like he didn't he needs the money, Like, golly, I got this gambling problem. He doesn't have a gambling problem. I'm just kidding.
You know what? If Bob Stoops wants to have a gambling problem, you better let Bob Stoops have a gambling problem.
Oh man, I'm going to stop him. But anyway, so that
I love you, Bob Stoops.
here in a little while we're gonna have the BS report, which will be covering whatever it is going to cover. But as far as the Urban Meyer stuff, I don't know about you guys. I feel like I'm just obligated to bring it up because it's the biggest story of the week. But to be honest, man, we're all about like having fun and let's be funny and let's have a good time. And this is just not funny stuff, I mean, I just would feel really bad. I mean, even laughing about beating that ass earlier, but it's just one of those things. It's like I
wait,
feel
there has to
obligated.
be- So I guess now I'm like, I don't know if it's a meme or what it is, but it's in my head thinking about like him having to be court ordered to go, to a therapy, and he's got like Ray Rice sitting next to him, and
Oh yeah. Greg Hardy,
man, that would be a
Joe Mixon.
That wouldn't be like an AA meeting. That'd be like a fucking conference.
Yeah. Hi. Anyway, again, I don't. That's just. I don't know. That's territory I don't want to.
Or maybe
Drive into.
Aaron Hernandez.
I don't feel like I have a passport, so I'm not going to go into that country because I might not be able to get back out.
That's a good idea.
I don't
So-
think Hernandez is going to make it on time.
Yeah.
So anyway,
The ghost of Aaron Hernandez.
like I said,
He's hanging out with Javon Belcher.
I feel like we're obligated. I feel like we're obligated to bring that shit up, but at the same time, I'm in a hurry to get out of that subject topic. So, and plus, there's more info that's going to come out, and I don't want to delve into the they could have, or they may have heard, or that could have happened, and no. Let's get some facts, and maybe then we can actually really give a viewpoint.
fair assessment.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so this is Hall of Fame weekend. Going into that Hall of Fame weekend, we've got some. I mean, it feels like it's hard to say. I mean, how do you say one class is better than another? They're all Hall of Famers, but some have
Good
said
point.
this is one of the best Hall of Fame classes in a long, long time, if ever, type of deal.
Marino?
See,
That was the first one that I thought of.
my memory sucks as I don't remember all the classes and who all's in it. So,
neither.
I mean, how, you could just make a blanket statement like, yeah, this is the best Hall of Fame class of all time. I don't know.
I'm better at actually knowing people that are in the Hall of Fame than I am their specific. I know.
What year?
I know
what year,
draft
who was
classes.
with them?
it's just too
I know
much.
draft classes better than I know Hall of Fame classes.
All right, so just to rattle off a list real quick, we've got ourselves.
A boner.
Work
mean-
that out while I try to knock out this list. I'm glad On the Border built that closet for us. I didn't know that was for you to do
Yeah.
that.
I won't need the whole 7 minutes in heaven.
Oh my gosh. So Hall of Fame class 2018, we've got Randy Moss, we've got Ray Lewis, we've got Brian Dawkins, Jerry Kramer, Terrell Owens, Brian Urlacher, Robert Brazil, and Bobby Beathard.
Go Brian.
And where do you guys want to start? Who do you want to talk about first?
Well, obviously Brian Urlacher. Everyone knew he was going to be there.
Yeah, he seemed like a shoe-in. You would put him kind of up there on. I mean, there's always the Mount Rushmore, but like if you add a head or two, you would put him up there on the Mount Rushmore of linebackers for the Bears.
Ray Nitschke.
Nitschke was the Packers.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm
Oh.
thinking more like of all. I'm thinking of like
Who
all,
hate the Bears, by the way?
Yes, no, I'm thinking
They
of
do?
just like
Oh,
all the
all-time,
great,
Wait, that's
all-time
right.
linebackers.
great Derek Thomas.
Well, okay, if we're talking that, I mean, you've got Urlacher and you've got, can I get one more? Beer? Yeah, thank you. You heard that, beer.
Cerveza.
Cerveza. So we got Ray Lewis and we got Brian Urlacher, linebackers in this Hall of Fame class. Man,
Ray Lewis, the greatest linebacker of all time,
you think overall,
hands down.
hands down?
Yes.
Down, really?
I don't think it's hands down. I think some would disagree with you on that.
All right, throw out some names.
Lawrence Taylor. I don't even have to throw out some names. I
I always think of him as a defensive end.
throw out one name, and his name is Lawrence Taylor.
Okay. I thought he was a defensive end, really.
But you can make. I feel
I
like
know he did. I know he did the 3-point stance a lot of times. Too.
Yeah, I feel like that you can make this distinction though, because Ray Lewis was an inside linebacker, kind of your quarterback of the defense type of thing, like a Mike Singletary, whereas Lawrence Taylor was an outside linebacker. So maybe you could say Ray Lewis greatest inside line. There would still be some arguments from people, but you could say greatest inside linebacker of all time, Lawrence Taylor greatest outside linebacker of all time. Maybe that makes a happy.
We'll go with that. Yeah,
I
a
don't
nice
know.
medium there, middle
Some
there.
people would say Singletary. I mean, there would be some arguments from different things. So, but
Just the amount of tackles. I don't know who owns the
Well,
career
we're also talking
tackles.
different eras as well.
we are
Yeah,
talking
and
different
Ray
eras.
Lewis is playing in a much more physical and athletic era.
I will say this. A lot of people just give it up real quick and say the '85 Bears were the best defense of all time.
That's hard to argue that one.
And I did see it. Of course, I was like 10, but I saw them play, and they were a really good defense. I think my only
The 46.
slight objection would be the 2000 Ravens that won that Super Bowl
That's who I was
with
about
Trent
to tell.
fucking Dilfer at quarterback. Because think about
Trent
that for a
Dilfer.
moment. That defense had to play so good. They had to, their offense was so bad, their defense won them the Super Bowl.
I thought the best defense of all time was led by Johnny Cochran, but that's just me.
Hold on a second. What about the only Super Bowl where there were nothing but 3 defensive players that got Super Bowl MVP? Come on now.
Was that the ice bowl? What, 3 defensive players got
3
MVP?
defensive players were picked for MVP because they could not decide between these 3 players because they all 3 just beat the crap out of the other team's offense.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's the
Hey, get off your phone.
it's that one.
That's cheating.
Wasn't it that one year when the old thingy when they took on the old Dilly Whopper? I would say the 72 Dolphins.
No.
Dang it. All right.
That had to have been a joke.
Who is it?
The John Gruden Tampa Bay Bucks
Oh, yeah.
against the Raiders.
Isn't it weird? I always forget about them being a Super Bowl winner.
1-0, baby.
Right. Yeah. 1-0. Oh, thank you so much. But yeah, Buccaneers, that was a really good defense. But they were also serviceable on offense too. Brad Johnson and those guys, that was a good offense. Not great, but they were good. That
Brad Johnson was always up and down.
That Ravens
You never know
offense
which
was
one
Jamal Lewis, and that's it. And then the Ravens defense was just
shoddy.
they didn't like. I felt like my argument against the Bears defense was I felt like they had great athletes, but they also had scheme. They had blitz packages
They were smart.
people had never seen before that just blew people away. Like they
Which is kind of
they didn't know what
unfair.
to do. The Ravens defense was not anything scheme special. It was we're just gonna flat out beat you at every single. Their
We're gonna
secondary
cover-
was amazing.
Oh, yeah. We're going to cover you. We're going to get to your quarterback. We're going to knock the shit out of your running back.
Now I say that, and believe me, that is not popular opinion. Now people will say that's one of the best defenses, but
Easily.
But usually people do tend to go to the
85 Bears.
85 Bears. So whatever.
Or
Anyway.
the 86 Bears because they actually won the Super Bowl in 86.
Yeah, but for the full season, you usually go with the 85. You go with the season, not when they.
Because
won
like
the Super Bowl
90%
game.
of the season is before January.
Yeah, I mean, if you get real technical, you could just hyphen it. 85, 86 Bears.
Like the
but
friggin'
nobody wants
basketball.
to do that. Yeah. So, of course, they all gave speeches. I didn't realize. Did you know that they have a 15-minute time limit for their speech?
Wow.
Which makes kind of sense. I mean, you got all these guys that got to give a speech.
Well, that definitely beats like the Oscars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at 15 minutes, do they have that music that plays them off that lets them know that their time is up, or do they have like at a comedy store where they just shine a light in your eyes, like, and then
No.
they pull then they grab the hook and
Grab
like,
the old hooker,
like,
wham, just pull you
he's
off.
out of here. Weep.
No, well, Ray Lewis went well over his 15 minutes last night. He was the last speaker, and in typical Ray Lewis fashion, he did 33 minutes. Now, for you stats,
Holy crap.
For you stats junkies out there, 33 minutes is not the longest speech. The award goes to he does get second. The award goes to Brett Favre's speech, which went 36 minutes. So Brett Favre still has the record for longest Hall of Fame speech in history.
He won 2 MVPs, right?
Brett Favre? Sure. I don't have that in front of me. I don't know. I can't remember.
Not with the Vikings, but with the Packers,
Right.
Because Adrian Peterson won the MVP with the
Yeah,
Vikings,
with the Vikings.
that year,
Yep.
or one of those 2 or 3 years he played for them.
But yeah, Ray Lewis went up and in typical fashion went preacher style. He didn't get behind the podium and stay behind the podium like the typical. He put on a lapel mic and he just kind of prowled the stage and got into it and was.
And if the speech didn't go very well, he could always just pull out his 9 and start busting some cabs.
Oh man, here we go. And if you all don't love this speech, cap. Anyway.
All right, Kevin Hart.
I thought somebody else was the shooter.
Yeah, he was more of a. Was he a stabber?
No, there was. I thought it was. Was he a stabber? No, there was. It had something to do with the gun. I'm pretty
He
sure.
might have just been in the car. I'm not sure.
I wonder if that'll be like a new board game that you play, shooter or stabber.
Is that like Shoots and Ladders?
Yeah, it's almost because there's the game Would You Rather. You could like, oh, the new game by Hasbro, shooter or stabber. It's kind of like Truth or Dare, but it's shooter or stabber. Anyway, so I thought, Randy Moss, he's first ballot Hall of Fame. Terrell Owens, of
Randy
course.
Moss deserves it.
Terrell Owens,
Even though he's an ass.
chooses to do. I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. He does his at Tennessee Chattanooga, his alma mater, with his family and everybody, and just does it on his own. He had received his jacket in the mail. His mom puts the jacket on for him and gets emotional and all that. And
That's nice.
gives his, he gives a speech. It's pretty long and stuff, but does the little ceremony and calls out the sports writers and the haters and stuff. And
Was this on OETA?
no, oddly enough, you would think it would be on, like ESPN the Ocho, but it was on NFL Network, which I don't have, so I had to look up like bits and pieces. I had to basically go through so many wormholes just to catch. It took time, man. Oh my gosh, I'm like, ugh.
That sounds hot though.
Going through a wormhole?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All day long.
All right. Hashtag go through a wormhole. Anyway, just kidding. I don't know. The T.O. thing, it just, for him and his personality, I guess it makes sense. It's whatever. So, and I'm one of those, I do believe he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. His statistics speak for itself. And we all know the only reason he didn't get in was because of the personality clashes. And it does say something. I will say this, because Randy Moss also had his own issues. Ray Lewis obviously had this major issue early in his career.
Major issue.
And you would think, well, why does this guy get in? Why are these guys, doing this to this guy but not these guys? And I would say, if I was to guess, I would think there's something to be said for humility. I think Randy Moss, when it came to the end, was truly just grateful for being accepted into the Hall of Fame. I think even if he got passed over a year, I think Randy Moss still just would have been grateful to get into the Hall of Fame. And he's just shown a side of himself that's a little more humble, that's just different. Obviously, Ray Lewis is the same. He's all about, hey, go, win the world and light the world on fire and stuff like that.
I think Ray Lewis, I think he's...
but Terrell Owens is over here Terrell Owens is still over here throwing pity parties and throwing tantrums. And
how old is Terrell Owens right now?
He's 43. 43. He might be 43.
He a grown ass man.
Yeah. He says he could still play in the NFL. You know that they did. No. You know that they did actually time him. He still ran I believe it was a 4.40.
A 4.4.
This dude is older than me, and he can run a 4.40.
So who gets signed first, Terrell Owens or Des Bryant?
Des Bryant.
No. Who gets signed first? Terrell Owens, Des Bryant, or son of a bitch?
I'm gonna pick son of a bitch.
No.
He's got it coming to him.
He's also redheaded and a stepchild. But
Colin Kaepernick?
Colin Kaepernick, thank you.
Oh.
Is there even a chance that he's ever going to play football again?
Yeah, for the California Penal League.
Well,
wow. Why would he? What? The Penal League?
It's a major league joke or reference.
Right. Now, who's the CFL team that signed Johnny Manziel? Because
I didn't hear about
after
that.
his debut.
Glad you brought that up.
Doug Flutie.
Manziel was traded from one of the Canadian football teams,
right,
to the Montreal Alouettes.
How can he take that job seriously? It's almost like he got a job at Hooters.
Yeah, he started. They did show the game. They no one ever shows CFL football games, but it's freaking Johnny Manziel. It's starting quarterback. First half, he throws 4 interceptions.
The first half?
First half. His passing is about under 50%, throws 4 picks, 100 yards, and looks absolutely horrible at quarterback. I mean, here's your sign moment. And his press conference afterwards, I think he's coming to that realization of, holy crap, I may have lost a step or two, or
just like Tebow, right? But Tebow knew when to get out.
Well, and Tebow lasted longer even in the NFL than Manziel. I mean, Manziel just basically, he had the alcohol issues with the Browns, and then it just kind of it spiraled downhill from there. They're like, we need to get him right. He needs to get into all these sessions, and then he ends up in the CFL. The team that he just threw 4 picks to, by the way, was the team that traded him to Montreal. That was the team he was on. He couldn't even start for that team. So they sent him to Montreal. Then the first game they play is against his team he got traded from.
I'm dying to know how much he was making playing in the Canadian Football
League. He got
League.
benched in the fourth quarter. The team finally just said, "Okay,
Can we have our money back?
Well, I don't even know that they're paying him that much, but
He still does like janitorial work for him after the games.
exactly, yeah.
The new, the new
So-
Montreal Alouettes slogan is, "At least we aren't the team that hired Art Briles."
That's a good slogan.
That is.
Like-
Don't be that team.
But the,
Don't be that team.
there was another CFL team that hired Art Briles, and he lasted for like a day before they.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh, this
I
was,
did not either.
This like 6-7 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Really?
it lasted. The backlash lasted a day before they said, "Okay, we were idiots. We should have never done this."
Right.
He's no longer with us.
Duh. But
No one knew this?
I did not. I knew that there were some programs that were actually considering Art Briles and looking into him, but
Which high school?
right? But that just seems ridiculous. We talked about the Urban Meyer stuff earlier. If I will say this, I feel like in life there's levels of things. Like Jim Tressel lost his job at Ohio State for covering up for these kids that were getting tattoos for autographing things, and basically covering that up a little bit. There's something about losing your job for that, and then there's something about covering up this domestic violence deal. But the stuff that Art Briles covered up is just, non-negotiable, inexcusable. It's some of the worst stuff of all time. People sending their daughters down to this Baptist private school, Baylor, and girls are getting raped and stuff, and even the police is in on it as far as covering it up or looking the other way. Art Briles, man, if that guy gets a job anywhere,
I didn't know that that's what was going on.
Oh, it's like awful of awfuls. There's the Penn State kids stuff, which is I feel like those are on those really awful, like, good night, we're trying to compete with Hitler type stuff.
There's going to be movies made about these.
Like, there's just levels of evil, and I just feel like that's just right there, at the top. And so, guys like Art Briles, it's just like...
Take it back. He didn't even last a day.
I guess.
Oh, did he not?
That was in August of 2017. The Hamilton Tiger Cats announced that they were hiring him as an assistant, and later that night announced we were mistaken.
I'm pretty sure there was some backlash.
That'd be hilarious.
I'm sure there was some tweets or emails or phone calls that were like, ixnay.
The best part is you can see Briles probably getting on a plane and heading to Canada that day and finding out that he's fired before he even lands.
That's fast. That's got to be a record.
No, he just text break up with him.
I'm not all for text breakups, but for that situation,
Totally
hell yeah.
text break-
Totally
breakup.
text breakup, yeah. Hell, hear about it from somebody else getting a text. Like text it to someone else and then you have to hear from that person.
A forwarding text message?
Yes, forward the text message. Yes, that's how that shit should go down. That dude, that was just awful stuff.
because sometimes you got to break up, but, she's still willing to, give you one last, before the
final
breakup happens.
countdown.
The final countdown.
Anyway, well, we're not doing video, so it's hard to do the visual.
Yes.
One day we will be doing video, so
I'm doing the visual.
that's
going to
be really crazy. When we start going video, this is going to be absurd. Like, the possibilities.
It's going to take a leap. Things are going to get out of hand
I'm
quickly.
actually going to have to put pants on. I'm kidding. I am wearing shorts, so I'm not
No
wearing
reason
pants.
for you to put pants on.
Yeah, so you weren't lying.
So I wasn't lying. Part of the
Snoop was.
Part of the Hall of Fame stuff too was, of course, the Hall of Fame game, which I love the Hall of Fame game. I know people kind of crap on preseason games, but I love the Hall of Fame game because it just smells like you just now get that smell of football is back.
It's
Yes.
back.
It's back. It's coming. It's on
Fuck
its
you,
way. and you're just like, oh, here it is. We know it's not great what we're about to watch, but we know it's
don't
football,
care.
and
We
we
do not
don't care.
It's
And
better than
so-
watching the WNBA.
So Thursday night we've got the Ravens, we've got the Bears, and it's of course in Canton, Ohio, in that newly remodeled stadium that was paid for by
Viewers like you.
no, it was by the owner of the ex-owner of Carolina that stepped down that sold the team. He was the one that had put all the money into Canton and stuff. But
You mean Cameron? You said Canton.
Canton, Ohio, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's where the Hall of Fame stuff is.
oh, that's right.
They have the
no,
stadium and
I thought you were, because you were talking about the Carolina Panthers, so I thought you said he's the one that put all the money. I thought you were talking
yeah,
about
he had
Cam
donated
Newton.
for them to
Well, he put all the money in Cam Newton too.
Yeah, exactly. But they
Did
remodeled
he
the
put
stadium.
anything else into Cam Newton?
They got facilities, like it's really, really nice. And significantly, like the Bears didn't really show much. And first game, a little insight on a first game like a Hall of Fame game. If you do a Hall of Fame game,
You play that's an extra.
it's an extra preseason game. And for the fans like us, we're like, hey, yay, football. But for the teams and the coaches, it's a headache because now that is a fifth game
To
that
get
you've got
injured.
that you could potentially get people injured. But it does at least give you insight to, because obviously
third
progressively
string.
they're making cuts. But nothing really significant with the Bears. They didn't even put Mitchell Trubisky out there. I would say the Bears really were. There was nothing. The main storyline from that game was the Ravens. Remember their first round draft pick was Lamar Jackson out of Louisville, and they set it up basically where he would take all the snaps in the second half. But notably as well, as I'm watching the game, I didn't know RG3 was with the Ravens.
I did not until the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
RG3's still out there fighting for a job. So
How can you not love a player like RG3?
I like RG3. You know, when he's
Such
healthy,
heart.
he's fun to watch, man. That is a great guy to watch. I hope he sticks, whether it be as a backup with the Ravens. I don't know how they'll do that because obviously you've got Flacco and you've invested all this money into Lamar Jackson. You know, but he still has an opportunity to shine, and another team picks him up, type of deal.
Yeah.
So
Dress
you hope he
rehearsals.
lands somewhere good that can maybe block for him, and he doesn't get like another knee injury or something. You know. Anyway, you like to see the guy stay healthy, but he was fast. Like, he had a couple of moments where he would go to run, and he still has got some pretty blazing speed. I mean, it's
Like that
RG3, man.
4.4 type of speed that he used to have.
Yeah. And then the thing with Lamar Jackson, for people that were already ready for him to take over Joe Flacco's spot, you want to hit the brakes. It might be some time before he's ready to be a starting NFL quarterback. He's got to learn the system. But yeah, there's moments where he was not connecting on routes. He's misreading the play and just takes off running. He had one play which was dynamic, but it was one of those moments where it looked great as a highlight, but you're sitting there thinking for the longevity, like you should have slid.
Yes.
But instead he just went all in like an RG3. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, we've seen this. We've seen this movie before. You need to slide, okay? This is not good for you. But, he had some moments, but not great, not terrible. But Lamar Jackson, Ravens, a little ho-hum, but again, got to watch some football. And
I'm a fan of him. I'd like to see him produce some stuff.
Yeah. No, the biggest thing, of course, too, is nothing to do with the teams, but it's actually the big rule being implemented this year, the helmet rule, the tackling with your helmet rule. The rule, I've written this down. I want to read it like as it is, just to get this right. It's, they'll be penalized 15 yards and subject to ejection when a player lowers his helmet to establish a linear body posture. Man, my handwriting sucks. A linear body posture prior to initiating and making contact with the helmet. And I thought about,
How often that happens?
when I used a condom and I tried to use my posterior, when I tried to lean with my helmet sometimes that didn't work very well. Just a quick side note.
Stop doing it in the freezer.
Right? Stop doing it in the freezer.
Yes. I mean, that fish, you're going to get confused between the smell of the fish and something else.
Because if I'm ready to establish a linear body posture, it's time, Anyway, sorry.
Man, I remember back in the day.
I'm sorry.
So many times.
I felt like I had to slip that in.
Yeah, it's like, what time is it? Oh, 5 o'clock? Time for linear body
posture. Well, the problem with the helmet rule, not talking about condoms, just kidding, but there's a lot. I mean, it's going to change the game, obviously, and they want to change the game for the good as far as the concussions. The problem is it's very subjective. It looks like here in the preseason, and referees admittedly are going to throw extra flags if it even looks close. They're just going to throw flags. They're going to develop a bunch of basic things to be able to review and go back on for the regular season, and basically they're learning on the fly just like everybody else is.
They're studying too.
So we're going to see a lot of flags, I feel like, in the preseason, and potentially we could end up seeing a lot of flags in the regular season. My concern is, for anybody, a lot of sports you could say refereeing, man, it doesn't change how the game's, whether you either win or you just go out there and win the game. Don't rely on the referees. But sometimes it just, as much as you can say that's just, it doesn't always play out that way. I mean, there are rules, there are sometimes things that take place that shift and change the entire complexity of a game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's just talk about for a second the tuck rule. The tuck rule, if you're not familiar with the tuck rule,
Tom Brady
got the Patriots off to their full, their domination and their dynasty. Because
their first one against the Oakland Raiders.
It was against the Oakland Raiders, the AFC Championship game,
Gruden.
Charles Woodson still calls it a fumble. Remember, Charles Woodson's coming off the edge, goes and hits him on a cornerback blitz. Man. Yeah. Anyway, cornerback blitz. Anyway, Tom pulls down, fumbles. They say it's an incomplete pass. If you're just someone who's even a casual watcher, you look at it 5 million times, you're like, that just looks like a damn fumble.
Yes.
And the Raiders, of course, get screwed and
don't go to the Super Bowl like they should have.
They go the next year.
And then get trampled by my Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, remember, that's Gruden's Raiders that are playing in that tuck roll game.
So, yeah, he had two teams in the Super Bowl that year.
He did. He had his team and the team he took over. But, yeah, so that essentially changed Gruden's career as well, just because he moves to Tampa Bay. He wins the Super Bowl, but then after that they kind of fall off and they're not very good, and he gets let go. But like that tuck roll, I mean, that Raiders team was so loaded, so good, and you should have, would have, could have, it should have been the Super Bowl to go against the Rams.
What a good Super Bowl that would have been.
Would the Rams have beaten that Raiders team? Remember, the Rams had just won the Super Bowl the year before against the Titans. Would they have gone back to back? Because of course they ended up losing to the Patriots in that Super Bowl. I still fault Mike Martz for that, dumbass. But you got the best player on the planet, and you're just I'm not gonna run with him. I'm just gonna throw to my receivers and do the greatest show on turf and play right into the hands of the Patriots defense. Yeah, good call, dumbass, Mike Martz. Anyway, way to lose the Super Bowl for the Rams. I mean, anyway, whatever. I'm not bitter.
No reason to be.
No reason to be bitter. You have Marshall Faulk in your backfield.
I was about to
Don't
say
use him.
Marshall Faulk.
Don't use him. I mean, why would you use him? He's just considered the greatest player in football at that time. Whatever.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, why would you use him? Let's just sling the ball around. Anyway.
Well, of course, then we talk about Pete Carroll and throwing the ball when you've got Marshawn Lynch.
So I take that curveball turn on the tuck roll just to illustrate, could this be something that
is a huge
rears its ugly head when the time is right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you get a 15-yard penalty, you are subject to ejection, And one thing that did happen in the Hall of Fame game, there was a play, it was an incomplete pass. The player made this shot on the receiver. And it was just a normal football play, a normal shot. And he's actually going in with the shoulder, but because some of the helmet touches the guy, and of course the receiver doesn't catch the ball as a result of the play. Normally it would be, that's a good defensive, hey, great play, man. He gets charged the 15-yard penalty, so then the Bears go up 15 yards, and very next play, touchdown. You're telling me this rule isn't going to make changes in our in the regular season and in the playoffs? Yeah, right. You got to be kidding me. That type of penalty can completely change everything.
This is going to be like the highest scoring offensive throughout the entire league.
Yeah, Andrew Sendejo, who plays.
Hey, you kiss your mother with
Gesundheit. Andrew Sendejo, who plays for the Minnesota Vikings at strong safety, who's absolutely amazing. He wore a hat that looks similar to like a Trump hat of "Make America Great Again." It said "Make football violent again." And if you think about it from his perspective, not just from safeties. Think about strong safeties. What do strong safeties do?
Back up the run.
You're playing the middle. You've got guys coming across the middle, and you're coming in, and you're not supposed to. It's not like they're trying to spear people necessarily with their helmet, but you are having to go in sometimes to make the tackle, sometimes to break up a pass play. But now you have to be cautious of where your head is in split-second scenarios.
It's like, can they just make some gear, like their pads or something, where it's like they turn into a turtle? So like they have a button on their hand, so as they go to dive to hit someone or tackle them, they totally turtle in.
Oh, he went turtle mode. And he got the tackle. He's down right there at the 15.
There's not going to be any 15-yard penalty here, folks.
What a great illustration of turtle mode by Sendejo, and the Vikings defense is able to stop a third down conversion. I mean, he's just like, oh my God.
But of course, none of this goes against the offense.
No. So we will see numbers
Staggering.
Which is interesting. There's great defenses in the NFL. It's weird. We're going to see great defense in the NFL allow a lot of points because of this shit. I mean, it's just going to be natural. It's just going to happen. So anyway, helmet rule, that's going on. We'll see how that plays out for the season. There's already a lot of people that are pretty frustrated with it, and you know, ratings for the Hall of Fame game were down 13% for whatever that's worth.
Damn.
So now your boy, Patrick Mahomes, this week at training camp, he had himself a little bit of a week. Reports had come out of camp that he's kind of thrown quite a few interceptions.
Pretty sure he's the defensive player of the week out there.
He is. I was listening to an interview with Tony Gonzalez, who's expected to be a Hall of Famer next year. First ballot tight end, considered, argued maybe the greatest tight end of all time,
especially in the receiving department.
He says he personally says, and this could be, you know, he swears he's not seeing all red here, but he swears it's not that big of a deal for Mahomes, that he'll catch on, learn from mistakes, and move on. But it is interesting, a dynamic. You bring in the guy because he is kind of a gunslinger. I mean, that's what he's going to do, which means there are going to be interceptions. But it also means there are going to be touchdowns. With Alex Smith, admittedly, I'd have to say there is a ceiling with Alex Smith. It seemed like there was a ceiling with him when he was with the 49ers, and it seemed like the same with the Chiefs. And it looks like they're just taking – it seems like the risk-reward is right there with Mahomes. The problem is the risk – I mean, the risk could be pretty high if he's slinging interceptions. But if he's able to pick it up, learn from the mistakes, and throw touchdowns with a really good Chiefs defense, I mean, he's got weapons to throw to. Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce.
Kelce, maybe. Well, he's probably the second best tight end in the league right now.
Yeah. Yep. Him and Gronk, man, that's
That's it.
Those are the two. And in fantasy, those are the you have your tiers because you're just crying so much.
You might join me for a week.
But your tier 1 tight end would be Gronk and what they call baby Gronk, Travis Kelce. And then all others are not even close to equal. So
Who
after
gives a
that,
shit?
pretty much.
However,
Like, that's your time to
fantasy
go get a
I mean,
beer.
you've got Gronk, who is injury prone, with a 42-year-old quarterback, 41,
Who has less weapons?
who has less weapons, and then you have Kelsey, who is, breaking in a new quarterback. So as far as tight ends go, don't pick them high on your fantasy list. I'm just saying.
I don't know about that. I would go against that when it comes to Kelsey. The fact that the quarterback is a gunslinger, if he throws a pick, that's on him. That doesn't go against Kelsey's points.
Right, but
So that means
the problem
Kelsey's
is
going to get more looks.
he's a
He'll get more
gunslinger.
receptions.
He's going to get possibly more looks depending on how they use him.
Yeah.
And can Mahomes get him the ball properly? It goes to the same thing. Very few rookie quarterbacks have a good year.
Tight ends are always a great safety
Tight
blanket.
ends are your safety.
Oh, yeah. Right there up the middle.
But they don't use him like a traditional tight end. He spreads out a lot,
He does. That's true.
and he goes deep a lot. So
That's the way to go. Don't
Go-
you like going deep a lot?
Go deep
yeah.
or go home.
Right. The short route, I mean, oh boy, I got to bite the tongue there.
Well, I mean,
I'm not
for
going
me-
to say.
For me, it kind of sucks because I'm only 4 inches, around. So is
Is that the going theory?
that the going rate?
Yeah, is that the going rate? 4-inch?
Yes, I believe so.
The old 4-incher?
The old 4-incher. Which is like a 2 times 2.
Right. Geometrically speaking, no.
So you're saying harder and faster you're okay with, deeper they better be talking philosophy.
Yes.
Deeper,
yes.
he brings his tool belt.
Lay that pipe.
Okay, hashtag lay that pipe. That is official from Drunk Tim. Hashtag lay that pipe. So, NFL news. Let's see. We've covered that. Mahomes. Last thing right now for NFL is Baker Mayfield has got a documentary series on Fox. As a matter of fact, here in like an hour, 20 minutes, the second part of it comes on Fox. It's all the way up with Baker Mayfield. And last week, it starts with Baker's rise to his walk-on at Texas Tech, his walk-on at Oklahoma, and then going into where he's at now as a rookie quarterback trying to make it into the league with the Cleveland Browns. And so one of the interesting takes from that last one was he tells a story about he walks on and Davis Webb was the quarterback at that time, or it was Davis Webb, and there was this other guy that was a starter. He gets his back hurt, so it's between him and Davis Webb, and they're going into practice. Webb tells Baker Mayfield, like, "Hey, can you get me some?" It was raining that day. Can you get me some towels for the football? And Baker and the coaches are like, "Yeah." Because he's the walk-on, right? Basically, he's the shit-on.
You got to pay your dues.
But Baker, being Baker's, like, get your own damn towels. I'm not a towel boy. And he tells that to the quarterback, and he lets the coaches know he ain't a towel boy either. That was like the big quote coming out of that, like, I ain't no towel boy. So it's just like you could see that gumption,
that fire.
Even back then. That fire, like, no, I'm here to be your starting quarterback. I'm not here to be your towel boy.
Yeah, I didn't transfer all the way from Lubbock to.
And what was interesting too, and he's pretty pissed from at Kingsbury, Kingsbury, that was the coach at Texas Tech at that time.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, Cliff. That's where the L's coming in.
Yes.
But when he did start, he was 5-0. He went out there. He was 5-0 as a starter, and then he had an injury, and then they never talked to him again. It was like they just written him off. That was kind of the deal that went down at Texas Tech, which caused him to transfer to OU. Thank you.
And it seems like I had heard that they were even trying to fight his transfer request or something like that.
something like that. But the whole thing was nonsense. But the guy went 5-0 as a starter, and that was his mindset. He's like, I know I'm a walk-on, but I went 5-0 as a starter for you. You're not even going to give me a scholarship? Like, well,
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, what's up with that? I mean, it's not like Texas Tech is like in the Ohio State level or nothing. I mean, come on, man. I just won you 5 games.
This is in the Big 12.
I don't know who they were against, but in college, I mean, you go 5-0. I mean, if you go with the guy who's going like
You're still undefeated
yeah,
after over a month.
Exactly. So that was last week's. I think this week's, I saw a preview. It's about him. He had to, part of his rookie job was he had to buy an RV for the quarterbacks. And it's kind of like their own RV to hang out in, and it's their private RV or whatever. So anyway, just some different stuff. So it's on Fox.
They had like pillow fights.
We're
and
intrigued.
stuff.
We're OU fans. So anyway,
I'm not just an OU fan. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan.
Yeah. So
that's a bad.
I'm rooting for him in
motherfucker.
Cleveland. So there you go. But yeah, documentary all the way up. He's an interesting dude.
This year they're not going to drop the Browns off at the Super Bowl.
That's right.
In the metaphoric way.
So they're not going to have any fiber in their diet.
No.
All right. Another quick thing from training camp. There was a thing, I don't know if you saw the video. Aaron Rodgers throws a no-look touchdown pass in camp. It just looks like Aaron Rodgers all over again. I'm just like, you sometimes as time goes on, he got injured last year and you forget how great sometimes someone is. But he's back and it's like, hey, bitches, I'm great.
Super Bowl time.
Throws a no-look touchdown pass in camp, so get ready.
Do you think that's on YouTube? I'll have to check that out.
Hopefully so, yeah.
I've never really been a Packers fan ever, but I'm definitely an Aaron Rodgers fan.
I like Aaron Rodgers a lot. How can you not like Aaron Rodgers,
Good guy, doesn't, choke a bitch, doesn't, pull out any guns or anything like that. Just a good old-fashioned, California guy.
Yeah. He had to work his ass off to basically get to where he is. And you look at a lot of the starting quarterbacks who are at the top right now. I think it was Colin Cowherd who did like a top 10 list of quarterbacks, and 9 of the 10 were you could see where they all had to fight on certain levels just to get to that position, like your Brady's of the world,
Brady's
being a sixth round. Drew Brees is too small. He had to fight. Like he was a kid from Texas. He didn't get any offers from any Texas schools. He had to go to Purdue, and then even get drafted. It's like, hey, he's too small. And he's like, I'll show you. And here's Drew Brees now. And you just see all these quarterbacks.
And then he sits back up to Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. And Rivers, they're both going to be Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So you could see, but you can't. It's hard to keep 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks on the same team.
Yeah.
Something's got to give.
Well, like the OSU Cowboys,
the running back situation.
Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
That's terrifying for a defense.
Yeah. But yeah, he makes the case of, 9 out of the 10 had really something big to prove, and that's it's like you need that in order to get to that level. You need a chip on your shoulder. You need something to fight for. The one that you say 9 out of 10, what's the one glaring? That's always the exception, right? He's talking about Andrew Luck, because Andrew Luck kind of he's never been like, I had to get out of the hood, or or he went to Stanford and he's a smart guy and he's getting his degree and he got drafted and he was the next Elway. So he's always been kind of the guy. He hasn't really had a chip. He's just been injury prone, unfortunately, because they won't block for him. And
you got Johnny Manziel, who is getting paid for
never a chip on his shoulder
for signatures when his parents are loaded.
Right. Well, with that, we're about to transition into the NBA, and I feel like it's a decent time to go into the BS report. The BS report brought to you in part by Chips and Salsa. And
2 more minutes, finish right.
You know what? Forget that. Screw that.
Let's talk about squirrels.
Let's talk about some things here. Let's talk about squirrels. Let's talk about the Mathis brothers. Wait a minute. No, that was gerbils.
Seriously, What, have you seen the new commercials for Mathis Brothers with Rip Mathis? Tell me that kid does not look like he has fucking hamster ears.
He might. Dude, genetically, like, I wonder if he'll do like a Maury test. Well, not to determine who the father is, but no, 23andMe. He needs a 23andMe. He needs to spit in the thing, send it off. People outside of Oklahoma are going to have no clue what we're talking about, but that's okay. You know something interesting this week while we're waiting? I'm pulling up the radio. I'm always listening to different things. And, you know, sometimes you catch things at the wrong moment.
The ass end.
Well, yeah, and definitely ass end on this one. I turn on the radio. There's a commercial for Jersey Mike's. I love Jersey Mike's. I got no issue with Jersey Mike's.
They good.
But why is it I pull it up and the line, in quotes, right when I turn on the radio is, all drizzled in the juice.
Wait a minute, did he say Jews or juice?
No, juice.
Oh,
all drizzled
in the juice.
juice.
Is this like, well, all drizzled in the juice? That sounds like a Hitler porn
that
movie.
was the end of the commercial. So I'm left going, what the hell is all drizzled in the juice? You know? So is it now deemed moist? I don't know.
This is definitely not a place that you're like mouth-wateringly wanting to go to. Like, I don't know if they said like the name of their company or whatever. Like, brought to you in part by Brahms, your neighborhood ice cream and market in Jizz.
I've seen how they made their sandwiches. I'm just wondering where the drizzling comes from and when the process of drizzling takes place. Because I understand descriptive words help make you hungry, but man, when we start drizzling and juice and moist,
it sounds like they probably have like a machine that does that.
Yeah.
Like, man, where do I fucking drizzle this? Go out back to Joey. He'll show you where the drizzler is.
Right.
Like
there'd be like those places that would try to advertise like this is a big deal. We hand scoop the ice cream for our milkshakes. I'm like,
so did Donald Trump.
I'm like, dumbass, use the tool. Like, isn't that against health department violation? Why are you hand scooping this shit? It's hand scooped. Why do you advertise that? Buy your tools. Stop being cheap. There's scoops for that stuff. Why are you gonna hand scoop that shit? I don't know what that person touched last.
They may have wiped their ass with that hand.
Like, seriously, man. We all know hand washing's a major concern in America.
It's a myth.
It's it's right there
Food
with
service people.
Yeah, it's like right there with the world is flat, man. I mean, it's like, people washing hands. It doesn't happen. I've seen it. Don't hand scoop my milkshake. Damn right. It's better than yours. If I could teach you, then I'd have to charge. Damn right, it's better than yours.
Well, probably at that place it is.
With her hand, I would let her hand scoop the milkshake.
Yes.
And it would bring all the boys to the yard, I think.
If it was fucking Scarlett Johansson's hand scooping your ice cream, you'd be like, wait, did you wash,
Good job. Yeah, thank you.
Could you spit in it for me, please?
You know how you lick the spoon after somebody's done with making like a cake or something?
Yeah.
Do you get the same deal? Never mind. With that, you get to lick that.
So is this like some Rihanna cake stuff or? Never mind.
Right. Cake.
With that,
with it all being drizzled, it all being juiced up, we've got the very juiced up Blair Smith ready with the BS report.
All right, and we're going to try this again. So, this week's title of the BS report is... Really? You're going to leave now?
I gotta pee, man! I gotta pee!
All right. This week's BS report is going to be titled Art Briles Stole My Thesaurus. So, if I can get through this, here we go. All right. Urban Meyer sits at home this week, fixated on his failures. Meyer has been placed on administrative leave following yet another scandal in the world of football. Another black eye leaves me wondering how many more hits this sport can take. You see, football, though not alone in the pantheon of professional sports, has long protected its participants in the wake of scandal. Urban Meyer just happens to be the latest martyr on the long list of malevolence. As Meyer and his longtime assistant coach, Zach Smith, attempt to tap dance around these allegations, I'm reminded that this incident is just another pockmark on the precipice of football's continued alienation of abuse within its hallowed halls. Football has long protected the man to hide the maniac, suppress the sufferer. At almost all cost, project the legacy over the loathsome. Ray Rice, Aaron Hernandez, O.J. Simpson, Javon Belcher, Penn State, Baylor, and now the Ohio State University. Yes, you Buckeyes loyalists should resign yourselves to the possibility that your revered coach has been accommodating an abuser. Deal with the backlash. As we wonder how to honor the legacies of the Leviathans, I am reminded that this is Hall of Fame weekend. Perhaps enshrining their statues in an anthemium of anonymity, a library, if you will, to remind everyone indoors that within the confines of football, silence reigns supreme. And that's just BS.
Nice. Very good.
Good. I've always understood, like, the Ohio State University, like, are there other Ohio State universities? They're like, no, we're the Ohio State University.
There is University of Ohio.
Well, I know, but there's
Ohio
not.
University.
But they're like the Ohio State University.
Well,
they're not saying the one that's not Ohio University.
You understand it's pompous. Pomposity? Is pomposity a word?
It
You
is
understand the
now.
pomposity of it.
I think for Ohio State, yes.
Yeah, it's by saying the Ohio State University.
Just like
they're-
Miami.
They're being pompous.
Just
yeah.
like Miami.
Right. He's
The U.
We're the U. We can spell U. Football. They don't sound like that. I don't know why.
I didn't know they were Muppets.
It's time to start the music.
That's right. Da 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 da. On the Muppet Show tonight. All right. So, okay.
Say you're babysitting the drinks.
Ooh.
What did she say?
We just got called out for babysitting our drinks.
It's called nursing.
Yeah. Well, that
just
came from Jose the bartender. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We'll have to have him on the show one time just to hear. You want to talk about pomposity.
That dude can drink.
Well, that's his own tab. But you want to talk about pomposity. Our bartender is pompous. That dude, if we ever have him on the show, yeah, you're going to hear some stuff. You would think that he was like the Michael Jordan of fantasy football. You would think that he was like, I don't know, the greatest. Just whatever he does, he's the greatest at it of all time. You believe me. You listen to the guy.
There's gonna be an ESPN like 30 by 30 or whatever that's called.
30 for 30?
30 for 30 on that.
Jose?
Yeah.
We should do our own little mock ESPN 30 for 30 on Jose.
That works.
All right, I'll
do it.
write that in the notes somewhere.
That'd be great. Like maybe even like once we go video, so that way we can do like the whole like montage or some shit like that.
Yes.
Right.
Do like the whole like the music and how they introduce it and oh
Yeah.
yeah, just get the whole flavor.
Hire
Oh,
a PI to get some extra photos of him while he's not looking. Catch him in the bathroom.
Yeah, I think that would just blow up his head even more. Oh, got my own paparazzi. You know, like shit. I mean, it's one guy, but I'm the greatest of all time.
I want to be the townsperson that never knew him.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, we didn't know him, but we knew he was going to be great from the first drink he ever took.
There you go, right, exactly. Gotta be the greatest at something, right? You know, that's in my notes. It wasn't next to my notes, but it seems like a fair transition, talking about the greatest of all time and the GOAT. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's got an autobiography coming out, and he talks about, he's interviewed and talked about, here lately, just obscenely, it's just been this whole LeBron-Jordan debate over and over and over and over again. And Kareem essentially says, look, there's no such thing as a true GOAT. There's no such thing as a true greatest of all time.
There's no way to find, there's no way to tell.
Right. He says it's basically You know, he called it. It's the kind of talk you have while you're waiting on your pizza to arrive. You know, that kind of deal.
Wow.
But or barbershop type talk and stuff like that, which is kind of what we're doing. So I guess we should have the conversation. But but he essentially says, everybody's under different circumstances. Everybody's under the whole thing is just different. So how, in a way, he's kind of, without fully putting him out there, in a way he is putting him out there because one thing that I recognize is Kareem gets just left out a lot when we have those kinds of discussions. Like, we'll talk about Magic and Bird and stuff before we even talk about Kareem.
And Chamberlain.
Yeah, we'll talk about we'll talk about Bill Russell's championships. We forget about the fact that Kareem was a six-time MVP. That's never been done before.
Holy crap.
He was
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forget how many times scoring champion. Obviously, he's the all-time leader in points scored. Of course, the guy played for like 20 years, but I don't count that as a negative. I mean, it's all about glass half full, half empty. Always try to look at a player as what did they do, what were they like in their prime? Because Kareem eventually, and it's sad, when I grew up, I watched the older Kareem. I didn't see the physically gifted Kareem. I saw he looked a little slow
Sluggish.
at times. Even though they were Showtime Lakers, he looked slow compared to the others. But yet his post-up play was amazing. His skyhook's considered the unstoppable weapon. But when he's early on with the Milwaukee Bucks and early on goes to the Lakers, he was athletically gifted. I mean, he was blocking shots, and there was a cutoff at when they even counted that as a statistic.
Running the floor.
And he was running the floor. The guy was physically really gifted. I mean, remember, this is a guy that trained with Bruce Lee. Like, this guy was in a movie, of course, but that was his teacher. He was a martial arts teacher, and so Kareem usually is kind of the guy that's kind of thrown to the side, whereas I think with this, in a way, he's kind of putting his name back into the hat, like, you forget about all my statistics and all that I've done and all my accomplishments, So,
well, when you talk about a center like that, and it's hard to say this, and I'm totally biased, but, every time that his name gets brought up, my first thought is fucking Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah. Well, and one person even said, as great, there's some that have said, Kareem, he needed Magic to win titles. But, you look at the flip side, Magic never won a title without Kareem. So, it goes both ways.
And, of course, Michael had Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, B.J. Armstrong, Steve Kerr.
Some of that stuff's tough to argue because it's almost like you try to dumb it down, or you try to, this guy didn't have as great of players with him, in order to try to get the greatness factor up or something. But we just have to acknowledge great players have to win with other either great or really good players. There's never been in history that I know of where one guy was just really great and they just went on and won the whole thing, and
Ask Allen Iverson.
And everybody else sucked.
Ask Jason Kidd.
Ask John Elway.
John Stockton, Karl Malone.
Yep.
John Stockton.
Because, you had
but those are two great players.
But that's what I'm saying. You had two great players there, and they couldn't get a championship.
They missed 2 years in a row against the Bulls?
No, they lost one. No, I mean, in the finals, they lost one to the Bulls.
That's what I was thinking. So they only went to one finals? Who is it that I'm thinking of? Because the Bulls beat the Suns in the finals with Charles Barkley, and
Bulls beat the Lakers first, Trailblazers second, Phoenix third, Utah fourth.
I thought they played Utah twice though.
They had 6.
Yeah, because they got 6. I really want to say that they played Utah twice.
No, I just messed it up because they won 6. But yeah, Phoenix is in the mix. Did I say Seattle? There was the year they beat Seattle with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton.
Right. And
The glove.
The love glove.
The love glove. Played some mean basketball. But yeah, Kareem kind of does get thrown to the side. But he's right. I mean, how do you compare a 7-foot center with his set of skills versus, someone like LeBron with his, or a smaller like an Allen Iverson? I mean, Iverson was deadly, but he was just short. I mean, how do you rank his greatness? That guy was great when he was on the top of his game. He was great when that 76ers team went to the finals against the Lakers and lost 4-1. I mean, there was no one on that Sixers team that was a secondary scorer. It was just Allen Iverson and some dudes. I mean, it was sad.
Iverson, in my mind, I mean, it's arguable, maybe a Steph Curry or something like that, but in my opinion, Allen Iverson, greatest ball handler of all time.
Ooh, that'd be an interesting.
I'll never
an
forget
interesting
watching
discussion.
Steph Curry
Jason
make
Kidd
Chris
was really
Paul
good.
fall on his ass because of this dribble move that Steph Curry did to
Yeah,
him.
but we really, and again, that's a perfect example of how we cannot judge from generation to generation. Is
perhaps
what everybody knows is the greatest ball handler of all time, Pete Maravich.
Right.
We have no clue. I mean, we don't
How do you
know.
compare? Yeah, that's true. Yep, the magician. Yep, or even White. Remember White Jason Williams? Like the
Oh, yeah.
highlights. If you ever
Yep.
just
Oh,
YouTube
man.
Jason
Yeah.
Williams highlights.
White chocolate.
My gosh, that dude. That guy was. You talk about fun to watch. I don't know where you rank him or where you put him or whatever.
He was with Sacramento, right?
Yeah, he was. He was with New Jersey too. I mean, he's
That's right.
with a couple of teams at different points. But yeah, he was with the Kings, most notable, I guess.
Where the fuck did he go?
He just fell off.
Disappeared.
Yeah, he just fell off. I don't know the rest of his story. But yeah, he was fun to watch. Great to watch in his prime. He was awesome.
You
So
were
much
right.
fun.
You were right, though. Yeah, they did only play Utah once, and it was their last one.
Yep, it was the
You
last
said-
one.
Yeah, Seattle, Lakers, Portland,
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
With Barkley and Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson. Yeah, Dan Marley.
We're obviously
Danny
missing
Ainge.
somebody else, but because there's six. I don't know who the sixth one is. Anyway, so basketball-wise, getting out of the GOAT conversation, big story this week was, and really amazing. I really like it. You know, it's one of those things you can love or hate the guy, but LeBron James and him opening. This was early in the week, so it's kind of a late discussion on the deal, but we're a weekly show. What do we do? But LeBron James opens what's called an I Promise school in Akron, Ohio, his hometown. And basically, I have to look up all the benefits on this, but it's essentially for right now 2nd through 4th graders. It's a public school. Other players have opened schools, from what I understand, but they're private. This was the first public school of its
Love it.
kind for underprivileged kids, that normally would not have an opportunity. And they get so many opportunities through what he's done. And of course, I lost the thing. I bet I emailed it to myself. So, but anyway, but LeBron James starts this school. He announces it on his own. He basically, just like we talked about, there's that show he's doing on HBO where it's a controlled media environment. He's going to be interviewed by people he trusts. They're going to have fun. They're going to do their own thing. I feel like this I Promise deal was a similar situation. He got Rachel Nichols from ESPN to interview him. That was
She's high.
So he's choosing who's going to interview him, and basically he comes out with this: "Hey, I'm doing this I Promise school. This is going to open up and take care of all of these kids here in Akron, Ohio. They're hoping through 2022 to go through literally thousands of kids and help them out." So, I mean, it's an amazing deal. It's one of those things where no matter what you think about him on the basketball court, that you can certainly applaud and say this is a great thing for just society in general. It goes beyond basketball. It's something that's great for obviously his legacy, but just great in general. And I don't know. I liked it a lot. It was pretty cool. I cannot believe I lost. That's what I'm looking for. I thought I'd saved it in my phone. The kids get, of course, with it being public, they're going to get free tuition, free uniforms. They get free bicycle and helmet to be able to get to and from school, home and all that. If they live further out, it's free transportation within 2 miles. They get free breakfast, lunch, and snacks, because a lot of times in schools that's an issue where the family's so poor they don't have food at home, so the kids come to school hungry and they can't think just because they're just starving. That's an issue right here in Oklahoma City. I know it's a problem in just about, I'm sure, every city in the United States. You wouldn't think so, but it is. And they got food pantry for families. They offer GEDs and job placement services for the parents of these kids. And then for the students that go through the school, it's guaranteed tuition to the University of Akron for every student that graduates. That is absolutely amazing. And, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself, as far as in basketball terms, a LeBron hater. And being the closet Laker fan, I am somewhat happy that he's going to the Lakers and making them worth talking about. But this puts him on another level to me. And sometimes I know these things are done for PR purposes. I'm not naive to the fact that it's, it's not always just out of this or that. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, it's a great thing for society. It's a great thing for these kids and his community. And it's a great strategic move if you're going to leave your hometown team again to go to LA and the Lakers. You're setting up something like this back in your hometown. It's kind of hard to be mad at the guy for leaving you when he's doing things like this.
I've tried so hard to hate that motherfucker. But that asshole's making me misty.
Yeah.
All right, LeBron, I love you, man.
Right?
I was rooting for him against Golden State.
Right.
As was everybody else outside the state of California.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it does. What if, and I don't want to really get into the anthem shit, but what if, there's a certain level of, we're doing these protests and this is going on. I think there's that next level. You eventually have to move past the whole kneeling shit. It is what it is. Whatever you think about it, you think about it. But I feel like athletes, and this was not easy to put together for LeBron.
No.
Something like that, you don't just, hey, I got an idea, here's some money, bam, it's done. That takes hard work. This is a thing that's going to be running
This was
on.
in the work years
commitment.
before he left.
This
A lot of
takes a
commitments.
lot of focus, work, determination. But what if athletes, if they really are protesting, or they really feel a certain way about some things, what if they're able to go beyond the whole, the kneeling stuff, but move beyond that and actually do positive things in the communities that they're concerned about, whether it be in Missouri or just in different areas where these incidents happen, but do positive things in those communities. It seems like that speaks more volumes and speaks just levels of greatness. Anything beyond what just sitting in a locker room or kneeling or whatever.
Well, like Kevin Durant, when those tornadoes were hitting more, not a hesitation. Bam, there's $1 million. That ought to help you guys out to get going again.
Yeah, and
And
that's
Russell didn't even do that.
Well, see, and I know KD did that. It's hard for me to I like to give KD some shit, but at the end of the day, too, he did that. I know that, and it's hard for me to be like, well, I hate Kevin Durant. He's a grown man; he can make his decisions.
I still hate the son of a bitch.
This is the city that he built, unfortunately.
But when you do things like this, it just transcends sports, and it's using sports as a
Platform,
a positive mechanism to improve society and to do good things, just overall do good things. And so on that level, you have to, or at least I feel, you have to celebrate what LeBron's doing. And
This
and
is a
things
real
like this.
achievement.
Absolutely, and I think that he doesn't have to be the only one that can do. It doesn't have to match this exact thing. You know, people can do. I mean, J.J. Watt had his thing. You know, what J.J. Watt did for the hurricane victims and stuff. That's just another platform, another thing. You know.
Speaking of which, what did James Harden do during all that stuff? I didn't hear anything about that.
I don't know. I couldn't say if he did something or didn't do anything.
I mean,
I
he's
don't
probably
know.
making something like KD type of money. I'm sure he could easily throw down $1 million.
The
and
Stars
be
are
like,
making a bunch. So
from that entire city.
But that just goes, you know, if you have that platform, you have that opportunity, make the most of it. You know, if you really do care about a certain deal, I mean, go and actually invest yourself in it. I mean,
dude, I've thought about this long and hard because, you know, everybody has that whole, well, if I had $1 million, I'd invest half of it and buy a modest house and, you know, pay off my car insurance for 10 years and all, you know, blah, blah, blah. I already know exactly what I would do if I had that kind of money like LeBron does. I want to invest all of my time into giving homes to the prostitutes. I want to call it Homes for Hoes.
Homes for Hoes.
Yes.
I like it.
I think there's a lot of these women out there that need, you know, some guidance and a place to live that's not ridden with needles and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would be willing to provide that service to them. I mean, they may like be a little hesitant once they find out that I'm going to be living there with them, but you know, the truth eventually comes out.
You're just supervising like the day-to-day.
Yes, the day-to-day
functions.
occurrences and you know, making sure these girls are doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Maybe a few times.
Right.
I want to make sure that, you know, I'm going to show them until they get it right.
As much as physically possible. Exactly. So,
And just to clear the air, during the Hurricane Harvey relief, James Harden did give $1 million.
He did
there you go.
All right, James.
There you go. Like I wasn't going to be quick to say it because I had no idea
I had no clue
whether
otherwise.
he had done anything. So,
But I had heard about JJ doing that, but I kind of have a man crush on him too.
well, I think he intended for it to be just this. That's one of those things that just blew up. I think he intended for it just to be this small thing, like, hey, let's do what we can, we'll help, and it just blew up into this $1 million. You know, it was just like, wow, wow, that thing really got out of hand. That escalated quickly. You know, so I don't think he really dreamt of it becoming that. You know, but kudos to LeBron. Someone who didn't feel like giving kudos to LeBron Friday night was President Trump. He put out a nice little tweet in regards to LeBron because I don't know if you know, he and LeBron have kind of gone a little bit back and forth.
I've heard a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron is, you know, kind of called the president out. Of course, Trump doesn't back down from any of that nonsense.
And right now, LeBron James has more power in this country than the president of the United States.
You know, Trump is quick to get onto Twitter and
Jump back.
oh yeah,
Perhaps a little too quick.
a little too quick. Yeah, he's definitely too quick in my
His
opinion.
Twitter editor was busy that day, I think.
Yeah, but Trump, I'm trying to pull up his tweet right now. I felt like I had saved and had
Isn't
all
that
this ready to
isn't
go.
that sexual harassment?
What's that?
Pulling up someone's tweet?
Yes, and I might be in trouble for that. We are in a public place.
Yeah, isn't that like grabbing the cooter? Pulling up their Twitter?
Oh man, grabbing the cooter. Man, I still love that. That was good. He was talking about that. That's good. Mr.
I know
Trump.
like I said, I don't recall the tweet exactly, but whoever was interviewing him, Trump stated that he made LeBron James look smart, which is not hard to do. That was,
The interviewer?
That
Yeah.
was the context of the tweet.
Right.
Don Lemon of CNN.
Yeah, and he even goes on with a quick, we were talking about there's the Jordan versus LeBron ad nauseum debate right now. Trump even goes, I like Mike. Kind of like throws his little thing in for basically saying Jordan's better than LeBron.
His
Oh, I thought he
bird.
was talking Huckabee.
Oh, yeah. He likes Huckabee.
His little jab there.
There once was a man from Huckabee. Anyway, never mind. Chimney Christmas. Why? My phone is not helping me out at all.
Is that like Jiminy Cricket's cousin?
Yeah. Well, very next day, his wife Melania. I'm just gonna
Paraphrase.
scramble through this, but essentially she tweets or through a PR person comes out and says something supporting LeBron James, which of course is kind of going against what her husband had just previously tweeted the night before, which is kind of odd. You wonder what's going on in the household there, because even like a few days ago there was something, I don't remember what the stance was, but basically President mentioned something, and I believe it was Ivanka who either the next day or whatever went against it basically, or supported the other side. And so
But good for them. They can't all think alike.
yeah.
I mean, I don't agree with my wife on everything.
I don't agree with your wife on everything either.
Maybe I just assumed this, but I figured like the Stepford Wives thing was going on in that household. You know, it's like, here we go. This is what we think. That is what we think. You know, and just
What was it, a Kennedy or something?
Yeah.
Don't ask yourself what you can do for your country. Ask what you can do for me.
Oh, let's see. Good night. There we go. Jordan even chimed in on the LeBron
The
thing.
Twitter battle.
Yeah, he said, I support LJ. He's doing an amazing job for his community. Plus other players, and
Mike said that about LeBron. Mm-hmm. Good job, Mike.
oh yeah, which is good, because Mike that's the one thing that Michael Jordan takes a hit on is normally, other than the peace pipe, that's one thing he takes a hit on is the fact that he wasn't really socially involved.
Community-wise.
Well, and just about any of the issues of the day, he really kind of was. His thing was, I'm about me. I'm about my brand. I'm going to play basketball.
That was
That's what we're
the way
gonna
things.
do.
That was the way things were back then. Nowadays, you've got everybody who's looking and desperately looking for a cause to be a part of, and this is a completely different society than it was back then.
Uh-huh.
So I don't really want to beat up on Michael Jordan, mainly because he's the greatest of all time. But, like I said, it was totally different times. People weren't aching for some bacon like they are now.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, good deal. I think Trump looks silly. I mean, he normally does anyway, but, something like this is just poor timing. When you have somebody when a guy opens up a damn school for underprivileged kids, that's not the week that you choose to try to bash him.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. You would think there's somebody on his staff smart enough to go, Mr. President, you might wait on this. The timing's horrible.
Don't hit send.
Don't hit
Damn
send. Because, I mean, right now, that only makes LeBron look better, and it makes him look like more of an ass.
Yes.
Let me guess, LeBron 2020.
I don't think so. No.
No, I'm sure like the memes and stuff, I'm sure that's going to just be pouring.
Yeah. He would be old enough.
Oh, yeah.
Right at the age, actually.
What is
He's
it,
33.
36?
He's 33. No, are you 30? You have to be 35 or 36. I thought it was
I
35.
thought it was 35.
You're probably right.
He'll be right at the age. But, I don't know. That'd
Bill
be
Pullman the
ridiculous.
shit out of that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Let's get a really smart dude in there, Let's stop with the
Fucking
Kanyes.
Bill Gates.
Let's stop with the Kanyes and the reality TV people. Like, let's just stop. Like, who won Big Brother? Okay, he should run for president. Like, let's just stop already, okay? My God, can we get somebody like Elon Musk or somebody? That dude's smart, okay? He works really hard. Put him in there,
Chance Del Fuego.
Not me. Hell no. I would. There's no telling what I would do to this country.
Somebody smart who's not a politician.
Something. So.
Or a celebrity.
Yeah. So, let's see. Just quick other news. There was a scuffle at an after party at the ESPYs between Tristan Thompson, Kardashian, And I like giving him a hyphenated name. It's great. And Draymond Green.
I wonder who started that one.
Well, I'll tell you. It was Tristan Kardashian Thompson.
No shit.
He comes up. Remember, they had a little bit of beef in the finals.
Yeah.
And Tristan had fouled out, and basically Draymond said, "Yeah, get your ass out of here," right? So there's some beef there. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
What is that?
It's called drinking because it's free.
Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Am I getting roofied? Roofied? Roofied.
Roofied.
Roofied. I can't even say it, man. Roofied.
Roofied.
So Tristan comes into this after party. It's at this deal. You know, there's LeBron. There's other people. There's big names there at this after SB's party. And Be careful. Yeah, oh yeah. Hey, whoa. My roofie drink. I can't even say it right. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. My roofie drink. Why can't I say roofie? Roofie.
Roof like a dog.
Roofie. Roof.
Arf and roofie.
Anyway, so the story is Tristan Thompson Kardashian comes up to Draymond at this after party and just takes a cheap shot on Draymond
Just
in the
fucking
face.
punches him.
But it's been called. Some have called it a punch. Some have called it a face mush. Now, do you know what a mush is?
Not really.
All right. Dang it. See, we don't have video, but it's like when your fist kind of almost like a push. It's not really a punch. It's just kind of a, you know, just kind of I got you. You know, like a. Anyway, like
Barely,
this week,
like he nicked him.
like this weak ass, not like a full follow through punch, but just like this, you know, kind of deal. So, I don't know. Draymond laughs it off. They end up being good or whatever. We're weird as guys. I know, like, that's just weird. Like,
Fucking
we hit each
testosterone.
other and then we're like, okay, now we're cool with each other. All right, you're cool now. We had that beef on the court, but that, yeah, that happened. Like, he comes up and mushes him in the face. You know, I think Draymond, like, if they were in a real fight, I think Draymond would totally kick that dude's ass.
Probably.
I think he's actually been in fights. I don't think Tristan Thompson Kardashian's been in fights, which may be illustrated of the mush.
It could be. I think he could have, but for sure, Draymond Green. Yeah, if it's Rumble in the Jungle, yeah, my money's on Draymond.
Well, he might as well consider it his last beef with Draymond because they're not meeting in the finals anymore. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
That rivalry's dead. I mean, that just became immediately moot after LeBron leaves. So
I hate that word.
Moot.
Moot.
That is a moot point.
It just sounds like a really stupid way of saying mute. It's
Yeah.
like, no, we're what do you call it? We're piggybacking on the mute word.
Yeah. Anyway.
Make up your own sounds.
Oh man. Well,
The mute can't make up their own sounds.
True.
that's very true. Yeah. Yeah. Helen Keller struggled.
So you're saying the mute to be making sound, that point is moot?
I think you nailed it. Nicely done.
See, we solve all types of issues on
We're
this show.
problem solvers.
We are problem solvers on this show. I feel
Done.
like. Done.
Next.
Now the mutes are now moot. Anyway, so
We built a wall.
feel like we've had a great show this week. There's still things that we could talk about. We've got some items next week we're gonna bring up. We're gonna talk about the NBA being the first to latch on to this whole legalized sports betting thing going on. We'll talk about that next week and what the implications are, because it's gonna be big. You think athletes are making a lot now? They're going to be making a whole hell of a lot more here pretty soon because of things like this. We're going to talk about that and so much more next week on Two Idiots Talk Sports. Tits, I'm Chance Del Fuego.
I'm Drunk Tim.
And I'm BS.
You all have a great week. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Have you ever felt like shutting the fuck up?
Well, I'm out, man.